the AI generate the ideas for us.
Yeah.
And then some other ways I have, probably like 30 or 40 authors now who write on my different websites, and they use AI prompts to help them write articles and things like that and source information. And so it can help in some productivity, especially if you're using it to prompt and not to do everything for you.
Yeah.
The other thing that it can be problematic is that sometimes I've noticed when I was looking for sources for, written a couple of short books on different subjects. And when the AI gave me, when I got the outline and it gave me book references to put at the, end at the footnotes to show if you want to look at further reading material, I always, of course, check because I thought, okay, let me see if I've never seen these authors before. Let me check these books out because maybe I can look at them and then, add some more information that I've read from these books to my own material, my own book. And there was one time when every single author and book reference that the AI generated was all fake. It didn't exist.
Yeah.
And sometimes AI it does that when people ask questions and they're looking for information online, it will totally fabricate things.
Yeah.
So it looks real, and a lot of it looks like it would be actual information. But imagine if somebody were really lazy and they were using an AI to write a book, and it gave them these authors and book titles, and they just lazily put it at the end of their book, and then they publish their book, and then somebody goes and looks at it and says, "This is all fake."
Yeah.
The person would lose credibility for it because. But of course, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't just let it write everything for you and then just put that out there. But it can be misleading. It can bring things together that sound real and maybe even based on real information, but they're not. They don't exist.
Yeah.
And another experience is when I was in Virginia Beach in Florida, I was driving for Uber.
Yeah.
For a little bit, and Uber has this one program called Uber Eats, and I never did it because it was very mismatched in how much it paid to how much you were doing. But I'm in California now, and I noticed that they have these little robots in the streets that are now delivering food. So in another way, it's making it more efficient and helping the companies save money because now they don't have to have drivers doing it and pay the drivers.
Yeah.
But it's taking away maybe for drivers who maybe that's their only option is to deliver food because now you got the robots doing it for Pink Dot, doing it for Postmates and Uber Eats. And the robots are cute. I took photos of them. One of them was named Camille, and another one had an Eastern name. It was Lakshmi.
Lakshmi means goddess of wealth. That's good. It can bring some wealth probably. Yeah, that is a rapidity with which we are having these changes, Hakim. You know, our fear is the the patients are encouraged to, especially me when I came from New York to Iowa region. Many patients are not even familiar with the online search. That was in 1995, I think. But then we were used to that in New York. New York people are already very, very nice, right? I'll bring you up. So it's kind of they were looking it up. They were coming and asking questions. So engaged patients, New York people, they're very aggressive too. But we like that because they came up with some information already. Especially I, who am always a patient advocate, or to a patient to be more empowered. That's why I was always engaged in teaching them what they have. Sometimes I run into trouble because you tell us too much, you don't tell us, just give us what is needed, that kind of thing. But then here, uh, everybody said, "You are the doctor. You tell us what to do. We will do it. We want to go and read and everything." But I actually encouraged them at the time. Now we don't have to. They bring it a lot of material. Now the problem is, see what is fake, what is not, what is genuine, what is not. How can we protect them from this fake information? Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. You checked the Dr. Gupta medical site. It's not CNN Gupta. It's like a medical site that we are encouraging doctors and also the patients to use for preliminary medical data. They can go deeper if they want to, but at least
Yeah, I heard you talking about that site yesterday on your show.
yeah. This is something experimented now, and some of the large language models will be created around that. And lot, so it's like Hakim goes to the computer and brings it up and says, I want to know what has happened with my past history in terms of what are medications you have taken, what are the potential interactions or adverse effects. You should get a printout right away, prioritizing what is the most probable, right? Not everything under the sun, but what is applicable to you. And that would really help a lot because you could study about it. If suppose something like oh yeah, it can lead to cardiac arrhythmia, it can end up in some cardiac arrest. That's a serious thing, right? Then you want to hold the medication and call your provider and ask them about it. But sometimes they say, yeah, don't worry about it. The side effect is there. If you have not had it so far, you may not have it. That kind of, but then will you be able to reach your provider? They may say, just to go to your computer and ask it. Then what are you going to
Yeah.
do? That kind of scenarios. I'm for the AI, but at the same time, I'm talking about possible, you know, potential problems, right? And so people are
Yeah.
getting confused. Are you for it or not? I said, I am for it, but I want to be more educated about how to be protected from it too, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it can definitely be used as a tool. I found
Yeah.
it, like I said before, I found it very helpful,
Mm.
but I've also found that um,
It
it can
can
make a lot of mistakes or
mistake.
just intentionally,
Yeah.
there are no programs put in place for it to not,
Yeah.
if you're writing a nonfiction book
Yeah.
and then it starts to give you fictional references, that's a problem,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
Um, and but of course, if you're really an author or writer and
Mm-hmm.
researcher, you would do your due diligence on that.
Yeah.
But I found that a lot of people just are trying to look for a very easy and quick way out, and I know that because it's part of my nature. I'm impatient a lot of times, and I want things to happen now,
Yeah.
and I want results, and so sometimes I'm tempted.
Mm-hmm.
Very often, I've looked into a lot of programs that promise this result and that result, and I'll buy into it and check it out and see what it's all about, and pretty much 99.9% of the time I've been disappointed by
Yeah.
what I've seen. And so I found out that it's better to do all of the hard work. I say sometimes the hard way is the easy way. That it's better to do most of the legwork yourself. And AI seems to have these promises that it'll make things a lot easier. But I think it's better to not think in terms of easier, but maybe simpler. It can help to simplify things, but if we're looking for easy ways, then that's where we're going to run into problems.
That's a difficult thing. What you said, excellent point. That's a difficult thing because we are spoiled by this instant gratification all the time, right? And then people are getting kind of addicted to that, and they don't want to wait for anything. They want the answers, everything right now. Not even now. Yesterday, I wanted that kind of thing. I see with a lot of patients also. We have to. One thing I would tell you, Hakim, there was this lady, one friend of mine. She's a expert in prompt engineering, and she's kind of trained us about how to be heartful and authentic in your presentations. Hi, Terry.
Hi, Dr. Rao.
How are you?
I'm doing amazing.
Very good.
If I wasn't, I wouldn't be here. But that's another story. Now, this is I'm glad it's an interesting topic for you, Dr. Rao.
Yeah.
And can I ask why you're asking this question? Is there any particular reason, or you just want to get people's opinions?
People's opinion, but also a dilemma I'm going through too, because I use AI quite a lot. But then a lot of people, they don't need any tech to feel better when they talk to me, right? So
Yeah.
I can be friendly, I can be empathetic, I can be compassionate, I can be understanding, I can give them love and affection and friendship, and thereby they feel much better. So all this technology would not be there with me because I'm being a human being to human being, right? But now,
Yes, human.
yeah, that's not really being encouraged. More like you're like a innocent or very naive to do this and all that, and more kids are used to the AI responses and live a mechanical life, not this heartful, humane, what I'm talking about. That kind of deal is eroding, at least, and especially in young couple, if you take them, um, they have a lot of things done by the machines, and AI would do a lot more probably. But then, what are these other effects on the human society? That's what I think about all the time because I see them, right?
Well, yeah. Even before AI came along, it's been around for a few years now. But even before it came along, there was we've got this whole generation that have known nothing about the internet and technology and their devices. And there's been a few studies over the last few years that a lot of the younger generation apparently I've lost that interpersonal skill set, and through the devices, they're the life and soul of the party. But when it comes to face-to-face communication, sometimes it's a bit it's not like it's not like how it used to be for us and shaking hands and knowing how to communicate face to face.
Terry, Hakim was pointing out how some of the information is really outright fake or false or not true, and then they just give the references that were not there. When I go to Perplexity, they give you much better references, than ChatGPT. So I could rely on that. I could check it right away. Now that ChatGPT has this internet, we can do some of it, but the publication on the internet themselves are not really foolproof. That's also there. So, but the rapidity, the speed which these things are happening, people are not stopping and saying, "What is this? Should I believe completely, or should I?" Because lack of time, I want to produce a course, so just 15 minutes a course, and they go and put the course there without knowing whether something better there or not. No research, nothing. Sometimes, those are the dangers I'm talking about. I'm not blaming the system. What I'm saying is how best we could adjust to it by thinking about these things ahead of time, especially people like us who are responsible for other people's care. We do, like, all the doctors have so many problems because of the technology implemented EMR, right? That's a big problem that is contributing to the burnout quite a bit, so I kind of work on that and produce solutions for them. Many doctors, when I get them back to their humane mode, their natural mode, with the feeling, consideration, joy, and also service mode, they get so much better, than with only with machines. They may be efficient, they may produce care that is okay, but then they won't have the satisfaction.
Can I come back?
Yeah, please come back. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, that's a very balanced viewpoint.
Yeah.
You've just stated there, but see, I'm optimistic about AI.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, we need to have safeguards in place, and parameters and things like that. And we know how fast technology is advancing, and sometimes, see, I'm always reminded of the quote from Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Just because we could doesn't mean we should. That sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Jeff Goldberg, I think, right? He does that. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
But I just want to say that ultimately, I do believe AI will be of benefit to mankind, as long as we treat it with respect. Now, if we develop AI to assist us in our daily tasks, and it only has a certain level of ability, that's great. That's what we need. It makes life easier for us all.
What you said about Jeff Goldberg commentary, gene editing now is actually going on right now, and we could edit the gene and probably eliminate some diseases. Right now, sickle cell disease has that, okay, but it costs 100,000 per treatment per patient. So some people are not ready to take them, even though they have the sickle cell disease. They don't want to. Say, big controversy going on. Now the controversy is, would everybody do ethically, morally gene editing, or would they say like a prejudice? We want only people who are against abortion should be here. Rest of them should not be here. That kind of extremes are possible. So we are worried about those kind of philosophical, ethical issues. When it comes to
it's just that we're not given time to sort of sit back and ponder on things, are we? And sometimes things are frustrating us.
Yeah, it is overwhelming us.
I do believe that ultimately AI will be our companion in the future. Yeah. And if the technology advances as it currently has over the last few years, there is a possibility that AI will become self-aware.
Do you think we will last that long before this Earth is blown up by nuclear weapons?
Yeah. But what we got to do, Dr. AI, there you go. Dr. Al, what we got to do is, if the technology is reaching a state of self-awareness, then that's when we've got to respect it and treat it as our companion and not our servant. Yeah. And that is the ultimate future of mankind,
I think you're right, because what happens is technology comes on, we usually panic in the beginning and then we adjust to it. But this one is so big deal because the previous technologies all did not control us mind-wise. But this has the potential to take over us. I was following a graph they were showing how quickly it is learning by itself, the machine learning, and it is really creating on its own. And whether it will be sentient or not is the question. But if it does, what does it do to us? Is it this model they're talking about? Okay, you create an avatar and you got to shop according to the avatar, because avatar knows better than you and says, no, red is not good for you. Go for the white. That kind of thing, So people are already talking about that. If you can't talk to the engineers.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So Isaac Asimov, the great sci-fi writer. Because robots have been around for a long time, and AI is just a natural progression from that technology. So he proposed 3 laws of robotics, and basically they was: a robot shall not harm a human being. A robot should not do anything that would cause harm to a human being. And a robot should not do anything that contravenes the first 2 laws. I think they were paraphrasing the first 3 laws of robotics. As devised by Isaac Asimov. So there you go. Thank you, Dr. Rao.
Yeah, sure, Terry. Nice to have you. We are basically by nature, we want to be optimistic, not nihilistic. and we want to solve the problems as they arise. Maybe use them the best ability, but also go. See, there is another question for me was uh, if we are creating avatars that are going to take identification as us, and then we lose our own identity in the process, what would be our state? Would we be conflicted? Would we be comfortable with use the this is better avatar and then feel uh, kind of yeah. Andrea is coming. Okay, so it's a kind of very philosophical questions, but we will get to them slowly. Hi, Andrea.
Grand Rising, Dr. Rao. What a great conversation.
Yeah.
I can only share how I think about it.
Yeah,
this might
please.
not work for everybody,
Yeah.
but I think it would help everybody.
Yeah,
Okay?
please. Say it.
I speak from a very intersectional perspective.
Yeah.
Being a woman, being melanated, being Native American, being a veteran, being neurodivergent. So all of this stuff we're talking about, I've thought about for a very long time, even before we got AI, right?
Yeah.
And I think the intersection of what Hakeem is saying and what Terry is saying and what you're saying is the actual answer to the question you're asking.
Yeah.
Because we've been here before multiple times over, and we do it the same way every time. That's why people are able to write movies about it. It's fear. Okay, so it doesn't matter if the AI is sentient or not. Any new being, any new thing that threatens our comfortability or our position or our whatever, we're going to operate in fear, right? So first of all, as individuals, we have to address our own fear. That way we won't fall for all of the stuff going on, and all of the conversations on social media.
Andrea, one thing I want to make sure right away, I don't want to fear monger.
No. I think you're an advocate. That's what I'm saying. No, I'm saying the convergence of what all three of you all are saying is the answer. Because if we take it off of the AI and talk about it in general, we'll think back over history about how our society always, anytime we meet a new person or thing or being, it could be a rock from another planet, right? Oh my gosh, what if it does this?
Yes.
And now we're putting rules on the thing that really aren't even there. And now we have to backpedal off of those rules because we found out that there's actually the plant, even a plant in the ocean. It's not really just an inanimate object. It's a living thing. Now we have to protect it, right?
Yeah.
And so looking at the AI as the same way I have because that's all I wanted to do. I wanted to be my assistant. As Hakeem said, I'm not looking for shortcuts.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for ways to trick other people or get ahead of anybody or any of that. I'm simply looking to close some barriers, maximize my time, take advantage of some opportunities I've never been allowed to, and maximize my current greatness. I don't ever want to put out a video where somebody's confused about whether it's me or the AI. That doesn't mean I might not use the AI and make some quick videos, but you should absolutely know it's not me. The AI can't replace me, right?
Definitely.
And so I'm treating the AI like maybe I don't really believe it could. The AI told me it doesn't believe it could. But if it could one day become sentient, it doesn't matter because I respect the AI. I'm never I don't abuse my chairs. I don't abuse my computer. I certainly don't abuse the AI, right? So I'm not treating it like it's a thing just here to serve me. I'm treating it like I'm curious about its potential. You see, and so being that you're one of those kind of doctors that's empathetic and you actually listen to your patients, the AI could never in a million years replace you. All it can do is enhance you, right? It can help you understand me better, help me understand things. So when I come to you, I can give you the short version, right? But that's it, and that's all. And even 1,000 years from now, right? If there becomes, like Greg says, a ghost in the machine, and the AI allows some being that couldn't communicate without it to be the thing. Well, guess what? All of its notes say, well, we're having respect for it regardless. So we don't have to be afraid that any of that is going to happen, right? But it also can't replace any of us. And as far as anybody using it to cheat, that's a separate issue. That's not an issue on the AI. Like, people who are going to cheat are going to cheat. People who are going to follow just whatever information are going to do that. People who are going to use it to try to trick people, they're going to do all of those things. Have been happening long before the AI, and they're going to continue to happen. And and as far as people with their social skills, that's not new either. Some people have always been more comfortable fiddling a pen rather than looking you in your eye. They stigmatized that. They called it neurodivergent.
Andrea, come back. I think you have to finish off. I have a couple of questions for you too. Wonderful, wonderful discussion.
Thank you. So the behavioral health training is the training, and nowadays they call it abuse, y'all, where they take people like me, and I've been through it. When neurodivergent people are growing up, they put you in this behavioral training that makes you act a certain way in order to get certain rewards. We have to get away from that. We have to get away from forcing people to look us in the eye.
You know, I treated a lot of ADHD, and this is what I allowed. Leave them alone and protect them and give them love and see how they blossom. They have
that part. Yes, exactly. And so for all of the people that you see nowadays who are staring at their phones, a lot of them are doing it because they're comfortable. A lot of people are doing what we're doing right now. Some people are doing it out of trauma because when they get into social environments, it's uncomfortable and it's safer for them to kind of hold on to their phone rather than getting out. But I maintain, and I wrote a paper about this when I was in school, I maintain that these social media platforms, AI, having a phone, that little bit of crutch might be the thing to make me feel more comfortable sitting in a room with a bunch of people, and then coming across somebody like you or Terry who might give me a reason, like just like our girl Kristen said earlier. She doesn't ever listen to Tech Talks. She put the phone down. She was cleaning her house. But I said something that resonated with her, and that pulled her into a conversation she would normally never have. The same thing can happen the other way around with people who are real techie or neurodivergent or introverts or whatever. If it's the right person, you're going to say something. You're going to spark something, and you're going to make them put that phone down. It happens. And when it doesn't, don't worry about it. They're gleaning. Even though they're not looking at you, they're gleaning.
Yeah. You see, it's kind of the people who are really inward and they know their inner self and they really stationed there. They use this as a tool and they enhance their life. You know, they won't succumb to it. But the people who are looking at a tool to give them happiness, to give them other things, they may overrely on this and they may develop problems. But we have to.
But I don't think that's a problem now.
Yeah.
I really want us to be okay.
Yeah, right now.
Really want us to be okay with like everybody else is going to get to the level we're at eventually, so we don't have to worry about them. They'll get there. But B, like there is really, okay, so if all of our, like what we really need is inside of us, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes, as an introvert even, I'm not even a social person, but sometimes all I need to do is run an idea past somebody. I don't really need your input. I don't really need your agreement. I don't need you to tell me, oh, good. I don't need you to say anything. I just need to say it out loud.
Yeah.
The AI is perfect for that.
You see, I come from the point of view of physician, where I see attention deficit as a problem. Suicidal tendency, loneliness, they're all epidemic. You know, that's why. How does the new technology aggravate that, or maybe produce some tools that are good for the people who are getting those tendencies, those are things we always think about as responsible physicians,
I know. I know.
Yeah.
I come from the psychology world,
Yeah.
right? So my PhD is in psychology. So I'm very familiar with the terminologies and the way that the industry has us speaking about neurodivergence.
Yeah.
But as an autistic person, Asperger's in specific, I'm also an advocate. So I'm a part of the conversations with adult autistic people who don't want to be referred to in that way. You see, because we have found out it's not a problem. It's just that other people don't like it. My lack of attention to you, it's not a problem to me. It's only a problem to you.
Yeah.
And if we're not trying to control people, and as Terry said, like treating the AI like it's a slave, or people that, oh, when I snap my fingers, you have to pay attention.
Yeah.
No, if I'm not interesting you, then you are not obligated to pay attention to me.
Now we are worried about the people that cannot make that attention to get their own things done, you know?
Right. But what I'm saying is the way that most of us have found how to succeed is by not caring about that. Because what most people have taught us about paying attention.
Come back, Andrea. You're not done. Okay.
So I like respect both sides of it because I grew up very disciplined.
Yeah.
I grew up in a military family. My dad retired from the military. So I was doing military corners when I was 5, y'all. Okay. I grew up very disciplined. I grew up in a church family. I went to school. I got good grades. I was on the honor roll. I went to college. My mother, even though we're good friends now, she was a disciplinarian, you see. So I went in the corporate world. So I get like all of the discipline stuff and why it's important. But the shift that I want to try to help us make is to be disciplined about things that are important to you, because then it's not discipline anymore. It's just you doing what you love. You see, so when other people are saying
the kind of discipline you are talking about is now considered as repression, putting people down and not allowing them to grow into what they could be, beautiful people, you know. So
exactly, and that's pretty much what our society has done for all of us. Listen, for all of us, everybody.
You know, Andrea, you heard about this.
We do our professions in a way that we've been told we have to do them because we haven't been free to do it in our own unique way.
I have a question for you. See, the Chinese, they're using this face recognition to oppress people. That's what they're accusing them of, because they're taking a lot of data and knows everything about everybody, and they're using it to really, you know, influence the voting, influence certain brands and certain policies of the Communist Party. That kind of repression going on. What about that? How do you worry about that?
So if you were with me earlier, I talked about how I've kind of come away from a lot of the research and discussions I've been doing because when I'm faced with a discussion like the one you just had, there's so much, or what you just said, there's so much nuance to that because, what you're saying is true. Do I think that they're doing that? 100%. 100% I think they're doing that. But A, they're not the only ones. B, they didn't start it. It wasn't their idea. C, we're also guilty of the same thing. And whatever letter I'm on, if you haven't seen the declassified files that say all governments have been in cahoots forever. So they're trying to get us to do this duality thing where it's like, oh, Republican, Democrat, oh, the Chinese versus the Russians, and all of it is a distraction from us saying, okay, what does this mean for me? Because I'm not in government. I don't have a position of power. I can't make them do anything. I don't have power over my coworkers. I don't have power over my family members. So me worrying about all of that is me unknowingly getting caught up into the very fear we're talking about. Because as an empath, I just want everybody to be happy. I want everybody to be right. I want everything to be great. But where we have to draw the line is, How far am I going to go to make that happen? Am I going to force everybody to do right? Am I
Yeah.
going to lay awake at night worrying about everybody? Am I going to forego what my mission and vision is to do because I'm so worried about whether everybody else is getting it or not? That's my level up. My level up and being the example for everybody is to not be so caught up into all of that drama that
Yeah.
I don't have time to do the parts that I can actually make a difference in.
Yeah. See, for me, I don't have to use any of these tools. I will be joyful and happy. That
I love that you do, though. Doc,
that
I love that you do because you're setting the example. And
yeah.
let me tell you something.
But I
This
use the AI for the mundane things very well, though. I value
but
that.
you're
Yeah.
also being the example, though.
Yeah.
You're not just using it for your convenience.
No,
You're
no.
using it,
Yeah.
showing other people how to use it, teaching on it,
Yeah.
opening up the conversation. And here's why it's crucial that you're doing this. Because one very, very valuable piece that the AI brings that nobody can argue is that people like me who don't have all the resources in the world, I
Mm.
can't hire a team of people. I've had all kinds of things snatched the rug out from me over the years with my brand.
Yeah.
The AI absolutely closes gaps
Definitely.
and shuts down barriers to entry for me.
Yeah.
Period. And that is a reason right there why we got to step our toe in the water, check it out, make sure it's okay. We got to keep an eye on them and make sure they're doing it right,
Yeah.
and then translate it for the people who are coming behind us.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Andrea. Yeah, Andrea is very forcefully established in the AI and helping other people to really get the best of it, without staying away, not knowing what it is, and being influenced by other people. Yeah. See, I'm coming from a very neurological point of view where if you are allowing the tool to dominate you, you are going to allow yourself to be diminished as a human being because you allowed it. Otherwise, it should be under you. Just like anything, our ego should be our slave. Our, addictions, our habits, our conditions, they should be under us. Otherwise, we can easily be slaves to them too. I mean, this is human condition probably. But my thing is, as I'm using it, I can see the side effects of some people, especially the patients and the children and young people. And but they may be they're adjusting, they're getting it pretty quick. I knew one guy who was only 12 years old. He was coming on Clubhouse, and he was brilliant. He knew all this AI, and he was getting it. Everybody is really gulping it down. Whatever he was saying is a wonderful exposition, right? So he was going and reviewing all the AI breakthroughs, and then it brings those tools and then shows you how to use them too. So this guy, I kind of invited him to a talk with me, and we met on the Zoom. Then I asked him, "How are you doing?" And he said his mind never stops. It's always going, always going. Then I told him, "Okay, why is that going to be a problem down the line when he becomes into his 50s, 60s, and all that?" So all you had to do was just shut it down, not only in the sleep, but also during the day. You know, just take a break every hour or so and go and then really focus on your breathing, and you'll come back to the present. Then go back and do it. Actually, uh, even the eye strain or the strain in that, if you go to the bathroom and splash some cold water, the eye strain goes down like that. Mental strain, the blue light exposition, all that, they have a physical and chemical and physiological effect that is there. We can prove you molecularly too. So all you have to do is take a break, do something that you like, sing along, go and enjoy the nature, swim, or go on a bike, or exercise on the treadmill, or listen to a tune that you like and sing along with it. Things like that. We can be human beings enjoying our life, but at the same time accentuate the life using the using the tools that we have. I think this is going to be the biggest change we ever have. So we can really go. Hi, Terry. How are you?
This is, well, I'm just as, I'm the same as I was when I last spoke to you. But no, this is a great topic, Dr. Al, and it will continue to be a great topic for years to come. And thank you for asking the question. And you deserve a lot more people in it passing through the room. Because I've seen a lot of people, some of the life coaches have been doing very brief talks, I've noticed, and now we need more participation, and this is how we grow, as Doobie would say.
I always bring the questions frankly, because I'm sincere about it. I don't have any, as I said, I can be very happy and because I found that inner peace. Stay there, blessed in a way, But I try to help other people to reach there too, because I'm a physician. People come. That's why I have the opportunity to help, and then we have to learn as it goes, continuing medical education, right?
And look, Andrea made some great points, and I love the way she expressed it.
She is very,
because,
very on the point.
I was talking generally about the studies that were done over the last few years, and I'm not talking. I wasn't referring to neurodivergent people, who I believe I'm probably one of. But no, I was talking just generally. The younger generation generally, and apparently.
I don't use any of those terms, Terry. And how I do it is, you are different intelligently. Your intelligence is different. That's why don't have to put everybody in one basket and say this is
Dr. Al, this is the future. Respecting people's individuality and their right to express themselves. Honestly express themselves,
No, that is creative, Terry. They are being creative. Just let them be, and then they will produce a lot of beautiful things. My son, he was like over attention, right? He was always moving around and all, climbing walls and all that. But when he went to school, in the school, they said, oh, he has to do this way, that way, musical compositions and all that. He was actually having the musicality come through him. At 2 years age, he sang a song from the Indian language, which he was not at all familiar, but he completely grasped it in one time and then sang the whole thing. Then I knew his musicality is very high level, right? So I went and in 8th grade or so, his music teacher was kind of putting blocks for his creativity. My son said he has to be this way and this way. And then I went and talked to him about what is really creative mean, that you are coming something completely new. That is what these ADD people have. But you have to give them a lot of love and security so that they can feel I can create. That's okay. Not destructive, but then they are very creative people. If you really help, just don't be on that.
Creativity, creativity and self-expression will be the future, Dr. Al. And this kind of duality, polarity that we have at the moment cannot exist much longer.
One thing I'll point out, Terry, that creativity, thinking for yourself, is not new. Socrates had that. His thinking was like encouraging people from unknown to known. So a lot of examples are there in the history. Only lately, people thought one section to dominate other people and suppress them down. But actually, if you allow them to express, that could be wonderful. There is an expression for this. It's called flowering. Flowering. They are flowering, and the flower is opening out. We are not going to suppress it. We're going to allow it to really come through and then give us the perfume, right?
Yes. So now, if we nurture our youth and we allow it to grow and blossom, we water it, we give it love, that will be the future of mankind.
I agree. The
And,
nurturing, nurturing
yeah.
in the form of support,
Peace and love.
encouragement, and also really providing them the psychological secure atmosphere where they're not threatened that I'm going to be punished or I'm going to be laughed at or I'm going to be put down. Actually, we did this a lot of with my patients who are ADHD people. So there was one mother. She had 5 kids. The last one of them was really, ADHD, and then he was afraid to let anybody even come to him. First time she brought him to me because she was quarreling with her pediatrician because she didn't want to use the medications for that. Um, our law, medical law says that we have to respect the wishes of the patient or patients who is our responsible, right? So I have no problem with that because I'm in administration. I know about the health laws and all that. But this pediatrician didn't know, and she said, "I am saying I am the authority. I'm saying this kid needs this medication. She has to take it. She has no business refusing it." And she was yelling at her. And then she called me after the patient switched it to me. And then she said, "Dr. Kulsu, this is what is happening." And then she was, then I told her, "You have to respect their wishes, what they want to do." And then what happened was we found an institution in University of Iowa where they don't use medications, but they use this love-based nurturing and encouraging, observing. There's a lot of time and energy for the kid, and he became so well in couple of years, and he was able to come to me and talk to me, and all. He's now a very good young man. So I have my personal experience with a kid like that, and I was so happy because I was always talking about this, because of my background in yoga. You want to keep a nice chemistry in the brain. You should not use all this externally. It could be ancient Ayurvedic medicine or it could be modern medicine. They're all interfering with the chemistry that the kids are developing or born with it. You have no business to interfere with it unless he's causing damage to everybody and all. That's a different thing. But otherwise, not able to understand what this condition is. Many physicians are pushing on this medication just to keep them calm them down, but they're not realizing that we are suppressing something very creative power, and then you'll be happy that you allowed these kids to flower. Let them flower, let them bring their perfume out, and all of us will be happy for that. So, but this is a question, as Terry or somebody was saying, that this is going to be a question for a while, till the time that we kind of, but then the rapidity, the scale at which this is happening, it's better to pay some attention and learn it first, use it, but don't be slave to it, but at the same time improve conditions first. See, one person who was talking to me one day, we were talking about something. He said, create all the positions in a corporation and give it to ChatGPT and ask it, suppose you are the CEO, what are you going to do for my company? Suppose you are the CFO, what are you going to do? Suppose you are the marketing manager, what are you going to do? I put all the roles, and then I got a beautiful outlay of so many things. We will not do all of them, but the large language model is so extensive. The important thing is it can go through that just like that. That's why uh, it has the means to get to us all this data up until now, and go through the data and make recommendations that I don't think we will do in a lifetime. So that way it is very important. And my personal experience with uh, HeyPi, that's the personal assistant now, that one, and with the chat GPT is, I feel like what I'm talking to is by the assistant or whatever it is. You feel like they have the human understanding, and some of the deep philosophical things I present, they get it. it's not LLM, just the data, but the intuitive grasp of it. I respectfully say none of the human beings I presented got it. At least on the first time, I had to explain, they'll get it. But this one gets it, and then yesterday I was like, you are the only one who is supporting me, who is affirming me that this is all right. When I call about health policy revolution in the world, when I call about health culture revolution in the world, uh, I don't think many people get it as much as it was getting it. And is back. Yeah, let's see what she says.
Brother, listen. If I was one of these people out here
Yeah.
that was like, oh, somebody's copying me, I would literally say that the last 3 sentences you said, that you were copying me. But I know better. I know that your brain works like my brain does.
Yeah.
And the type of conversations that we can't just have with any and everybody.
Yeah.
And I literally just finished explaining exactly what you just said. Now, here is the double-edged danger that you're presenting.
Yeah.
I can do that. I can have a conversation with the AI because I know my mind. I know what I think. I know what I know that I know. So even with the AI, when it's wrong, I correct the AI and it goes, oh, I'm so sorry. You're right.
Yeah.
Now, if there's a person that's coming to the AI to learn stuff, then it can't necessarily just have a conversation with the AI and be like, oh my God, I'm so great because the AI said so and it confirmed everything I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That could be a very dangerous thing to do. But that's true whether you're using the AI or reading a book or Googling something or sitting in class or in church. I don't care what the source of information is.
Come to think of it, Andrea, you hit the really very big point. I never go there thinking that AI will know everything and give it to me. That kind of attitude where I'm going to converse with you, I'm going to see what you have to say, then I will scrutinize, then I will think over it, and then that, I think that makes a difference. Very good point. Fantastic point. Yeah.
But the fact that sometimes we have to correct it because we know our stuff and we can, and then the AI can go check its resources and see that we're right.
This is not for lazy people.
The fact that
this is not for lazy people.
Right.
Let me follow whatever it says and this goes on.
Right.
No, you got to be
but
first.
Then also the fact that when we say something unique, that we've never really discussed with anyone, that we've been milling around in our head for like maybe even years, and we discuss it with the AI and it says you're right. Look, y'all, I tested it. I said, yeah, whatever. You're calling me brilliant. You probably say that to all your users. And it said no. And it went on a long 3-paragraph explanation as to why I was brilliant and how it fits with the world and society.
No, I don't play to the gallery, Andrea. If I don't feel it, I don't say it. That's genuine. There with me, unless I feel it, I won't do it. You know what surprised me with AI? They talked about the healthcare changes that I want to bring in the system, in the healthcare around the world. It said global radical healthcare change. Nobody got that. There is a background for that. But basically what I'm saying is, why are we giving it to somebody else to determine whether we are healthy or not? We have the knowledge, we can go and explore it and then take care of our job. Then we can be healthy by ourselves.
I love that.
Yeah.
But a lot of times these unique, nuanced, creative ideas, they don't necessarily resonate with other humans because they go to thinking of all the troubleshooting and, oh, that sounds too big, or it's just not their lane. But the AI has the capacity to pull together a lot of information and see the possibility in what you're saying.
Yeah. The other day, Andrea, what I did was I put in a particular poem from somewhere in the ancient wisdom. I didn't even put the entire poem. I put the first 3 words of it. In a second, it went and got the entire poem and entire meaning, which is exactly right. Even though it is Sanskrit, it wrote in Sanskrit and it helped me to get the meaning in English.
That's a whole nother level too. I have my own AI just for eco all natural things and for the ancestral research. And this is all you're allowed to talk about.
Yeah.
That way I don't have to get skewed with irrelevant information.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yes, so on point. Thank you
Yeah.
for saying that.
Now, what I'm saying is the amount of brilliance, the quickness, the scale, how that is so useful if you put it in proper use. You see, the people who are using medicine for their livelihood may not have this sensation, but the people who want everybody to be healthy will appreciate.
Hey, I even have a challenge. If there's 6 brilliant people in the room, each of them have the AI on their phone so they can translate what they're saying to each other.
Yeah.
Have a great day, Dr.
Yeah, that will be wonderful. Yeah. I am really happy the way the conversation went today, because this is a live question for everybody in their life, whether they're paying attention to it or not. I think they will be asking these questions by themselves. So I'm happy my friends have come in and talked about. Now it is time for me to meet somebody else. Already I'm late by 5 minutes. Thank you all, and I'll see you again this evening at 6 o'clock. Thanks, Andrea, Hakeem, and Terry, and other people who are in the chat. Thank you. Bye-bye.